Oh, Paul Tassi from Forbes, dude. That guy, I swear, him and there's another guy. I actually follow the other guy has a YouTube channel, and I follow him on YouTube just because his takes are so wildly uneducated. Um, he just hates everything. I haven't seen him publish on YouTube in a while. Let me go see if I can pull him up. It's not Paul Tossi, but it's another one of the um, I gotta go see if I can find him on YouTube now because it's gonna make me it's gonna drive me nuts if I can't dig this up really quick. And I can't remember the name of his YouTube channel or the name of the writer. No, I think the thing that most people seem to be upset about with Destiny 2 is the fact that they vaulted old content. And I've seen a lot of comments along the lines of, I paid for something that I no longer have access to. And it's like, no, you didn't. You just don't understand living campaigns. I could name, off the top of my head, World of Warcraft, Destiny 2, Guild Wars 2 are three big games that have all done vaulted content, meaning that, um, or, in the sense of they've done what's known as living campaigns. So a living campaign is a storyline that moves the game forward in a linear fashion and doesn't actually ever go backwards. So in other words, they like when the cataclysm, is that what it was called? When the cataclysm happened in World of Warcraft, it fundamentally changed the landscape, right? Like you couldn't go back and do quests from 10 years ago because those quests were no longer in the game because the cataclysm happened, the world was changed, zones were underwater, other zones were broken, mountains grew in place of old places. You could no longer access the old content because the new content was in place. That is how live service games work. Now, not all games do it like that. You can look at, like, say, Star Wars: The Republic as an example, has always gone in the fashion of um, the the expansions are standalone stories that take place maybe on a planet over here or something, um, and that content is always there because the planet is always there. But they could decide to come along and have a Death Star mechanic or storyline where it blows up planets, and those planets could disappear. Um, but many games, World of Warcraft, I use as the biggest example because it is the behemoth that is, World of Warcraft. And yet, I've never once seen players running around complaining about the Cataclysm. Never once. With Destiny 2, though, they won't shut the fuck up about it. And I don't get it because many games do this. Not all games, but many do. And if you understand storytelling, sometimes for the purposes of storytelling, you want to move the story forward in a linear fashion. That's like sitting there and watching the Star Wars films and being mad that they blew up Alderaan because I want to go to Alderaan and see what life was like on Alderaan, and I want my money back because I went to the movie theater thinking that we were going to be able to have the right to go back to Alderaan and visit, and you blew up Alderaan and you took Alderaan away from me, and I want my money back. Like, or just there are some really ridiculous points of view out there from people who just don't understand game development. And I don't know why it is this game in particular, um, because many other games have done it. Uh, and it was only for some of the content for Destiny 2. There was a period of time where they were moving forward, and they just said, if you haven't played the most current content, that's fine. When you come back, if you've been away for 3 years, you're going to be here with the rest of us because we don't want a bunch of players left behind. So, from a game development standpoint, developers are doing that so they don't have to deal with that problem, which that is one of the big problems with live service games is what do you do with the players who take forever to play or go away for 3 or 4 years. Well, they're not the majority of your player base, so you have to focus on who are the majority. And the majority of the players who play fairly regularly, those are the ones you want to focus on because they are the ones who contribute to furthering development of the game and pushing things forward. So of course you're going to focus on that demographic. And if that demographic is always looking at the next piece of storyline, um, then that's where you go. So it's a weird thing. I don't get it at all. Um, and quite frankly, what's really frustrating coming into this game as a, I've played it before, but let's just say I'm a new player. If I was a new player trying to create content for Destiny 2 in 2025, I can get away with this because I'm not necessarily new and I have an established YouTube and Twitch channel and I make a good living. And so Destiny 2 is not the game that I am basing my success off of, right? Like I have many other games that I play. This is one of many games that I will play in 2025. But imagine I were a new content creator. So I just woke up this morning and I had like 50 comments of people who are upset and butthurt about Destiny 2 took away content, vaulted content. I paid for it. I don't have access. Fuck Bungie. Like that's what I woke up to this morning, like 50 comments. Now, not a big deal because I've got, 1,500 other comments to go through over the course of the next few hours as I'm going through my socials and everything. But if I was a new content creator and I'm just trying to get going and I love Destiny 2 and I found the game and I'm playing it for the first time and I'm really having a great time and I start to upload content to YouTube and that's what I have to wake up to every morning is those kind of people on my videos, like I'm going to stop playing the game because those fucking gatekeepers, those assholes are ruining my experience. And a new gamer isn't going to have the fortitude to withstand that sort of constant barrage of pissed off, angry internet trolls who live in their mom's basement and peeking their head out of their Reddit cave once in a while to be like, Bungie took away that expansion from 12 years ago, and I'm still butthurt. Like, get over it. Games move forward. Living campaigns are a thing. I suppose those same players probably bitch when they watch TV shows too, like when they kill off a main character. Oh, I can't watch it anymore. They killed off my favorite character. That sucks to be you. You know what those people are? Those are the same people who rage quit watching Last of Us 2 when Joel died. Spoiler alert. Those are the same people who rage quit Last of Us 2 because of that right there. They're like, Joel was the only reason I watched. Joel was the only Pedro Pascal was the only reason I was watching that show, and now they've killed off Pedro Pascal. I'm gonna stop watching Last of Us 2. Sucks to be you with your little pea-sized brain, like not understanding storytelling, not understanding that Game of Thrones is about more than Tyrion Lannister. It's about more than one character. Some stories are about a dynamic cast of characters going on this journey from point A to point B. And if you can't wrap your tiny little pea-sized brain around that, you know, living campaigns are a thing in many games. If you're going to play a live service game, you have to accept that the company is going to move the story forward in ways that might not be the way you would have done it. But if you want to create a story that you want to have go a specific way, raise the millions of dollars, build your own company, make the game that you want. Otherwise, you lose the right to complain. I'm a customer. I demand satisfaction. No, you signed a terms of service when you signed up for a live service game. If you've never read through the terms of service, I suggest you do that. I suggest you read. Yeah, Thandar, they forget IPs are supposed to be shared and explored. By the way, this will get shipped and clipped. I guarantee you this video will get downvoted into oblivion by the Destiny 2 trolls. Oh, they're going to come out of the woodwork when I publish this on YouTube. All right, who was the guy I was going to look up really quick? Not Paul Tessie, it's the other guy. He has not published on YouTube in a while, but I've followed him for a while now. He's another writer for Forbes. Eric Kane is his name. Eric Kane. I guess he did do a Superman review a couple days ago, or a couple weeks ago. But Eric Kane is another one who has written a lot of really angry. Um, yes, I'm still here. He runs a blog over on Forbes, and he writes a lot of angry video game content. But those two guys for Forbes, um, yeah. Oh my God. All right, we're gonna get rid of you. We're banning this user from my YouTube channel. I don't want you here. People being upset. Yeah, some people are like that, Lou. I made a video game with my two friends, and I have the right to critique big MMO studios now. All right, I wonder if it's gonna make me travel back to it because I went AFK. Let's see. Yep, exactly, ROG. It's got really bad too. Like, I think some of the content that when I do like anything when I review Star Trek or Star Wars, I get some of the angriest um, basement dwellers ever who will come out of their basement to rant about the stupidest shit ever. About how this shouldn't have happened because of these reasons, and the writers suck, and how dare they not do exactly the thing that I wanted them to do with the characters, and I think this is the studio. It's like, just fucking enjoy it, man. But it's the same people who were like when George Lucas introduced midichlorians to Star Wars. It's those types of people. They get all sorts of butthurt, and they're like, "No, you're not allowed to do. I don't care if you're the creator of the end of the franchise. You're not allowed to do that. That's not allowed. You've ruined it, George. How dare you ruin the franchise?" I think I actually have to track this, otherwise I'm never gonna find it again. Oh, I probably don't want to fall down there. So I learned a valuable lesson today, which is don't go AFK chatting for long periods of time because it will boot you out of the zone. And I will fight you on that, Lou, because I love the Snyderverse just as much as I love all. We were talking about this the other day. I love every iteration of Spider-Man. I love every iteration of Batman. I love every iteration of Superman. I love every iteration of every superhero and things of that nature. Like, I could care less if they create a new version of Lord of the Rings tomorrow and they cast somebody else as Aragorn, son of Arathorn, or they cast somebody else as Gandalf. I don't give a fuck. I will enjoy it. Why? Because I love Middle-earth. I love Lord of the Rings. I will never stop loving Lord of the Rings. I will never stop loving Star Wars. I will never stop loving insert all my favorite franchises here. I don't care who the actors are. I don't care if it's a new iteration. I don't care. I will always want more. Oh, and I fucking fell again in that same spot because I was talking and not paying attention. It's like somebody asked me the other day, "Are you gonna go watch the new Superman because it's James Gunn and not Snyder?" And I was like, "Why wouldn't I love the new Spider-Man? I love James Gunn. I love James Gunn as a director ever since Slither, just as much as I've loved Snyder ever since I saw 300. Like, just because it's a director doesn't, what the fuck? Like, why would I change my mind on a superhero character just because a new director is directing a film? That is the most, dare I say, I'm gonna use the word again, that's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. Oh no, he said the R word. Context. I'm not talking about a specific group of people. I'm just talking about a mindset. Understanding context in the English language is key. I've had a bunch of people who got triggered that I used the R word the other day in that YouTube show. Okay. We're dead? Can I move forward now? Yeah, it's exactly the thing there. Keep an open mind about content. I think the worst offenders of all are the people who won't watch Rings of Power, or they make really ridiculous comments about Rings of Power having never watched the show, or they've watched the show and they'll make these ridiculous comments about how the writers aren't actually adhering to Tolkien. And I'm like, did you never? And here's the thing, they'll praise Peter Jackson's films as like the best things of all time, and I'm like, did you actually watch Peter Jackson's films? Because Peter Jackson did all sorts of shit that didn't happen in the books, starting with fucking Arwen on the bridge, or not on the bridge, but Arwen at the ford of Anduin. Like, that wasn't Arwen who met them in the woods, man. Where's Glorfindel? Hashtag justice for Glorfindel. Like, you want to talk about somebody going off the beaten path and putting things in the movies or in the show that weren't there in the Glorfindel. Where's Glorfindel? Like, don't come at me with your little, oh, but the elves have short hair. And where did Tolkien write that elves have to have long hair? He never said as a rule that they must have long hair. Many times when elves were described, they were described as having long hair. I don't disagree with you that I prefer elves with long hair, but at no point in time did he write, elves must always have flowing locks of long golden hair. Nowhere did he ever write that. Ever. In any of the notes that were taken for Lord of the Rings. So just because your head canon says elves should always have flowing long blonde hair doesn't mean that that's the actual canon for the books. But the idea that Rings of Power is like some horrible thing, and it's like, dude, I don't think you've actually ever watched the Peter Jackson films. Ever. I could literally write down a list of 100 things that Peter Jackson did that were not true to the books. And you know what? I don't give a fuck. Those are still my favorite movies of all time. I love them more than the Star Wars films. The Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings films are just amazing. Pieces of art. Masterpieces in terms of adapting a literature that is near impossible to fully adapt. I would argue it is impossible to fully adapt into any medium because of given the complexities of some of the things that are described of being on screen. And yet Peter Jackson did it. He had to make adjustments to make it work. And some of those adjustments I 100% agree. You know, when I watched those films in theaters, I was one of those people who got very upset in theaters. I got very upset about why Faramir in the movies takes Frodo back to Minas Tirith. I was very like, no, that's not the way it happened in the books. You know how old I was when I saw those movies? 20, 22, 23. I was very young, right? And I was very much, how dare he do that? Faramir didn't do that. No, no, Faramir was this paragon of good and virtue, and he resisted the ring, and no, that's not the way it happened. But Faramir in the books is a much bigger character than the Faramir of the films. Then when I saw the enhanced editions, right, the actual Lord of the Rings films, which I'm gonna get stuck here again if I don't go through here and do things. When I saw the extended editions and all the things they added for Faramir, and it made sense. I was like, oh, I get why they did that, and it makes total sense because it shows that men, not Faramir, but it shows that men are weak and men are susceptible to the corruption of the ring. Like that's the power of the storytelling medium that they were working with, and they had to adapt things a little bit to be able to properly show that on screen. And people like my wife immediately got it. People like me who were rooted in book lore were like, but Faramir never did that. Faramir never would have done that. Hashtag not my Faramir, right? Um, things like that. Um, it's just things like that will always make me chuckle and go, well, then you're not really a Lord of the Rings fan.
The portal that was here before is gone. We'll have to find another way forward if we want to manifest the memory. The tablet we found must be connected to how Savathun got the light.
I do have to shut up and play the game, otherwise I'll start ranting again for 20 minutes and get kicked out of the game again. Oh no, don't make me solve a puzzle. How the fuck would I even know what I'm supposed to? Am I shooting runes? I'm guessing I'm shooting runes. How do I know which runes to choose? Is there a visual clue anywhere? I don't see a visual clue anywhere. Oh, that's the perfect example, Arj. Exactly, Ari. Like years ago, everyone hated Jar Jar Binks. The actor almost committed suicide, and now everyone loves him. Even though Jar Jar Binks may not still be a most liked character, the actor, everyone accused him. By the way, you brought up Hayden Christensen, but I went a step further and went to Ahmed because everyone hated him to the point where he contemplated offing himself because they hated him so badly for his portrayal of Jar Jar Binks. And I was like, he was just paid to do a job that George Lucas hired him to do. Same thing with Hayden Christensen. And here we are 25 years later, and everyone hails Anakin. You know, Hayden is Anakin Skywalker. He is Darth Vader. Like, he has now been accepted as the de facto Anakin, and he is beloved by the franchise now. It is a weird thing, man, to, you know, at least most people accept him. There are still some basement trolls out there who are like, no, how dare they? So A worked. I'm gonna go look this up. What are we on? What quest are we on? I do not want to sit here for 30 minutes and try to figure this out. Well, I don't know what the visual clue would be. Altar of reflection. They are randomized each time you enter, meaning there's no... Really? Saturday's puzzle requires you to find a set of runes and stand amongst the others. Check each rune in a set for anything amiss. What does that mean? Check... So... Hang on, they glowed for a minute. No, I see. Those glowed. Hang on. I don't fucking know what I'm supposed to do here. Alright. Around the room, green pools spawn with similar symbols to those on the wall. Run into the pools that match the symbols on the wall in the order they appear, reading from left to right. You'll have to do this twice to proceed through the mission. What? I don't see a green pool spawning. I don't see green pools anywhere. The fuck are we supposed to do here? So obviously when I shoot that one, it opens up, but every single thing I've shot after that... It says, every time you, okay, first is called a cursed pool. In this puzzle, a few symbols will appear on the middle wall. Around the room, green pools will spawn with similar symbols to those on the wall. Run into the pools that match the symbols on the wall in the order that they appear, reading from left to right. You will have to do this twice to proceed through the mission. Dude, I do not see any sort of green pools. Like, there is nothing anywhere that matches that. I do not understand this at all. Alright, I swear to God, I'm not stupid. My glasses just fell onto the floor. That was not smart. So maybe I am stupid. Alright, I got hot and sweaty because I'm getting frustrated. So let me get the air conditioner control. Making me angry.